Fabulous. So here we are for today's session, and we're going to look at, on the last meditation workshop, we looked at the fundamentals of getting started, how to set a space up, the different things and obstacles we'll overcome. Today we're going to look at different methods of meditation and have a go at several, including looking at ways of incorporating, get my words out, incorporating meditation more into our daily routines, because the more we can do, even if it's a few minutes here, a few minutes there, the better it's always going to be for us. And lots of a lot of practicals. Oh, I meant to get some beads ready. Let me just bear with me. Oh, I'm about to fall over. There we go. So I'll edit that bit out. And so yeah, so lots to do, lots to look at. Hopefully enjoyable for everyone. And I'll start just actually. Let's start with just a short meditation, and then we'll go into it. So have a fidget. Get comfortable. If you're lying down, make sure you're not crunched up. If you're sitting, make sure you're sitting straight but comfortable. If you're too rigid, too upright, you're just going to end up with a bad back. Best way if you're sitting is to imagine, and I still do it. In fact, no one will have seen it because it goes out on the morning meditations at the moment. But yeah, the string from the top of the head, just pinch a bit of hair, hold onto it, and then just let everything hang from it. And it just puts you in the perfect posture for doing a meditation. Feels great. Anyway, let's begin. Oh, there we go. Have a stretch, have a fidget. And we'll begin today's session by taking 3 wonderful deep breaths together. So there's no need to close your eyes and go within on the first breath. No need to close your eyes and go within on the second breath. But on the third breath, you can close your eyes and just go within for a while. Just let my voice guide you, and we'll get the most out of today's session. Let's take a breath with each other. Let's take a breath with the possibilities of a new week. And let's take a breath with the blessings that await you over this week that you've not discovered yet. And then just return to your natural breath. Gentle rise and fall, your own natural rhythm and tide. Thinking about it, when you think of breathing, it's one of the skills you've got that you've probably practiced more than any other. And there's nothing to do, just relax. The more you relax, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the more you can relax as you tell yourself, I am going to relax. I'm going to meditate. Everyday thoughts will not disturb me. sounds round about will not distract me. It all just helps me go deeper. And what I want you to do is just place your attention at the top of the bridge of your nose. As you breathe in, it'll be that point up the nose where it feels cold just before the air drops down. For a few moments, just hold your attention there. Nothing else to do. Now just gently shift your awareness to the way the light in the room plays upon the eyelids. The colours, the patterns. And notice as you relax how if you attempt to pin those shapes and colours down, try to just focus on one completely, how they gently shift and move as you continue to relax. And as you focus more within, I wonder if you can get a sense, a feel for your heart beating, either a pulse or your heartbeat itself. I wonder where you notice that first. And as you become aware of now that part of you that is aware of you doing this, allow yourself to become aware of the part of you that is watching you be aware of you doing this. And what is that you begin to notice now? A thought, a sensation, an image in the mind that will allow you to get the most from this session today. And as you become aware of that, whatever that is, you can also start to return back, to continue on and to get the most from today's session. And when you are ready to get the most from today's session, just open your eyes, be here now. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, back inside, back in the room, as they say. Wonderful, fabulous. So last week we looked at the very basics, the whole 3-week sessions is called Meditation Made Easy. And so we looked at the very simplest forms of meditation that you can look at, focusing on the breath, following the breath. We looked at the obstacles that you can come up against, not all the time, but if you have methods and ways of approaching them, you can get past these quite easily. And so we've covered some of that. I'm going to start this session now looking at an idea that we've touched on before, and certainly in the first couple of weeks when Meditate kind of first emerged, we looked at then. And that's the idea, the concept of micro or mini meditations. It's great to be able to have a set time where you kind of, like we're doing at the moment with the meditation challenge, where you get up at a set time and you do X amount of minutes. But sometimes in the day, things happen that kind of can get in the way of that. And something to remember is that the only failed meditation session is the one you don't do. But what happens if you've been waking up, doing your morning meditation, and one day, the alarm's not gone off for some unknown reason. Maybe your phone hadn't been charged, or there was a power cut in the night and it reset the timer or whatever. And so you find yourself having to get up, get on. It's not the time to do the meditation there and then. And maybe then you're at work or you're doing whatever you need to do during the day. How can you make up for, how can you still incorporate meditation into your day? And mini meditations, micro meditations are one of the simplest and easiest ways that you can do this. The other thing to keep in mind, and I think I said this in the last session, is anything can be a meditation. If you take the essence of meditation being just that single focus, you keep your attention on, you keep coming back to, then anything can be a meditation. And if you think of the session that we started with, that short, brief meditation, then what did we do? We focused on our breath, we focused on the patterns on our eyes, and we focused on a sensation in our body. These are 3 things that we can use at any point of the day or night as a focus for our attention. And a mini meditation, micro meditation, is usually, I'd say, 3 to 5 minutes long. But again, a couple of minutes is better than nothing at all. And you're basically going to just become very mindful. It's kind of like a mindfulness practice, because we go in and out of meditation and that headspace naturally throughout the day. If you're at work and you have a couple of minutes where you can just gaze out of the window, and maybe I think I used the example of a tree outside and there's some birds flitting around. A mini meditation could literally just be slowing your breathing and just giving all your attention to what's going on out there. And the secret to eyes open meditation is, it's a very profound and deep secret. The secret to eyes open meditation is have your eyes open. That's the deep depth of it. there's a couple of ways you can be, if you were at work and you're gazing out of your window and you just find something to watch. Could just be the way a tree's moving in the breeze, or could even be, if you haven't got trees or anything outside it, maybe you can see, a car park, and you put all your focus and all your attention in the same way as you would on your breath, but just on externalizing and watching the comings and going on the car park. If you're doing that, you don't label it. You don't go, oh, look, there's Dave. He's just got back off his lunch. And oh, where's Sarah going? She's skiving off. She's meant to be here for a meeting. You're not going to do that kind of thing. You literally observe without commentary. Ditch the commentary. Slow your breathing for a while, for as long as you can spare, and just watch what's happening. Here's another example of a mini meditation. Tea, or coffee, or juice, or whatever drink you want. But if you've got the time, just to slow everything down, slow your breathing down, and rather than just going gulp, gulp, gulp and necking your drink, getting your drink, talk you through this as though I'm doing it. So you've got a few minutes spare, maybe again you're at work or you're out and about somewhere. I mean, you can do this anywhere. And well, anywhere where there's a drink, and you literally, first of all, meditation focusing on a piece of chocolate. You get to eat the chocolate at the end. I think it's great because you get a reward as well. Anything that rewards is always going to be good. Your mind's going to want to do it. So cup of tea is there by me, and first of all, you might hold the cup in your hand and you put all your attention on, what's that feel like? How warm is it? Actually, it's quite tepid feeling already, this one. How warm is it? Is it really hot? Is it cold? And then just gently and slowly bringing the cup up, being aware of the weight of the cup, the balance of the cup. Can you sense? And the more you tune into this, the more you notice. It can be quite entertaining as well. You notice the movement of the liquid. Can you feel it if it's quite full, like this one is? Just a little wibble. You can see it wibbling there. Now I can feel that through the cup. So pay attention to that. And as I bring the cup up, I don't rush it. I just bring it up and I pay full attention to how my arm's feeling as I'm bringing that up. Which muscles are working? Have I got any aches? It's my elbow. It's my dodgy elbow, that one. So I might get a twinge on the elbow, but that's okay. And then bringing it up, and then you get to the point where rather than just taking a sip, just take a moment, rest the cup near to your lips. How does that feel? Is it warm? Can you feel the steam rising? Does it tickle your nose? Is it soothing? What is that? And just paying full attention to it. Taking in the aroma of the drink, especially if it's something like a coffee or a herbal tea or something. What's it smelling like? And then when you take that first sip, just how does it feel at your lips? How does the liquid feel when it's in your mouth? What is the taste like? How does your mind respond? Because, especially if you really needed that drink, there's that. It's almost like a part of you relaxes and goes, oh, needed that. So be aware of that, but make it the sole focus of your attention. When you swallow it, if it's a cold day, you might feel the warmth trickling down inside you. If it's a really hot day and you've got a cold drink, maybe you feel the cold trickling down inside you. Just follow it. Be completely aware of it. And again, don't label it. Don't give it a running commentary. Just observe the feelings, the sensations of the whole process. And just repeat. As you put the cup down, how does your arm feel as the cup goes down when it touches down on the table? How does the weight and everything? Really kind of observe every detail. And if you do that with some gentle, slow breathing, you have created a meditation. That becomes a meditation. And if you take that principle that a meditation again is just focusing all the attention on just one thing for a while, and that thing can be anything. So it can be the car park. It could be if you've got 100 sheets to print out on a photocopier, and you've got, you can get away with standing there and watching it. Watch it. Just notice the mechanism, the light moving, the sound, the everything, and just make that complete. It might take, I don't know how long it takes to print out a 100. It depends on the photocopier, I guess. But anything in an office can be made a meditation. If you can close your eyes, then the moment you close your eyes, you can make following the patterns and the light and the shift and the color and the tones on your eyelids a meditation. You can just simply make your breath a meditation. But a mini and micro meditation is basically spotting those moments in the day where you can just squeeze one in. Imagine it like a pack of your favorite biscuits. And if you think no one's looking, you're going to go and just quickly grab one. Look at meditation as the kind of spiritual equivalent of that naughty biscuit, and just try and find discover as many moments as you can throughout the day where you can create a mini meditation and be creative with it. Watching things through the window. Yes. Having a drink. Sally said about the chocolate. That's a brilliant one. You can watch your eyelids, you can watch your breath, you could sit there, take your pulse and follow your pulse. I was going to say, if you're waiting on a queue on a phone, then maybe the music, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone play music that I would say was conducive to meditation down a phone. And when they have, it's been so horrible sounding, it probably wouldn't help. So maybe not that one. But look for those moments and get in the habit of I was going to say stealing, but I'm going to say stealing's wrong. We're gifting yourself a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. If you're on a lunch break and you've not got company, make the eating of your food a meditation. Just really get into it. Yeah, there you go. Your meals throughout the day. Exactly, Anne. So a mini meditation can be anything. The other thing is there are times throughout the day where we naturally drift into that head space. So quite often when people are doing things like the dishes, they kind of just get absorbed in it and it becomes a thing and the mind switches. And if you notice yourself, if I say trancing out in those moments, then allow it to continue, allow it to prolong it. Just see how long you can keep that mindset whilst you're doing that task. Again, gazing out the window, we've all looked out a window and just got lost in our own little moment for a while. If you notice that moment, make that moment your meditation. How am I feeling? What's going on here? What's happening? What's grabbed my attention? So basically making anything and everything a meditation. There's in the Celtic tradition, there's the idea of making your whole life a prayer, and you really can make your whole life also a meditation. If you bring mindfulness into it, if you look for those moments, even if you're having to type stuff, if you're completely just focused on that one task, and you slow your breathing down, you are creating a meditative state. Is it going to be a spiritual awakening of a meditation state? Probably not. But is it going to be a just relax, calm, center for a while whilst I'm doing this, feel good at the end of it? Yeah, it's going to work. So that's mini meditations. And like I say, there are many. And in fact, I'll start a thread up in the might even be one there. I can't remember in the forum under the meditation section for mini meditations. And then if you have an idea and you've had a go at one or you've come up with something, share it, drop it in there. And that way, if somebody's thinking, I want to do some mini meditations, what can I do? There might be something you've done. They'll go, I'll try that. And we'll build up a a suggestion list of ideas for mini meditations in there, because yeah, everyone can post in there. So okay, so that's our mini meditations. And I mean, it can, again, just but as I'm kind of trying to wrap it up, ideas keep popping in my head. If you've got a dripping tap, there's a tap dripping, perfect. Just watch that tap drip, slow your breathing. Just put if your mind drifts off and you start thinking about something else, all you have to do is bring it back to that tap dripping. Same as you would if you were just focusing on your breath. So I mentioned eyes open meditation, and there's a couple of ways I like to use this. Well, there's a couple of three ways. One of them really needs to be done in person, where you can be taught through it. But I'll suggest it because you might want to have a go. The first one is, I've talked about this in the past, but call it shimmering trance, actually. And it's definitely probably more of an outdoor or by a window kind of activity. It's a great way of meditating, and it's surprising how quickly, when you use a shimmering meditation trance approach, how quickly you go quite deep within. And as we're heading into the nicer weather, we're getting into that time of year where you can do more of this. We've all probably seen, of course, we have stretches of water where the sun's shining and there's just a gentle ripple and the light's casting down. You just get that shimmer on the water. Or things like a silver birch tree in a gentle breeze as the leaves flutter. Again, you get it is like a shimmer. It's a subtle fluttering of movement. And you also get it if you get like cornfields or fields with tall grass in. That's it, shimmering trance or shimmering meditation. And again, basics of meditation, single focus and relax your breathing. Natural breathing or slow, deep breathing. With this one, I'd suggest a slower, deeper breathing, in fact. So you've got I'm going to say field of grass, for instance. That one's not great if you're a hay fever sufferer, by the way. But if you're by the ocean on a day when the sea's rippling and catching the sunlight, absolutely perfect. You've got, say, your grass, your field there. There's a gentle breeze, and as you watch it again, there's that gentle shimmer and movement and subtleness of movement within the grass, and it kind of shimmers. And all you do is you tell yourself, right, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to relax. And then you just take a few deep breaths, relax into your slow, deep breathing pattern. And with your eyes not fully open like this, because why would you? But with your eyes open, just allow them to go to a half, if I say half mast, that kind of, I've just woken up level of squinting at the world. You're not quite squinting, but you're not fully opened. And just keep them at that half open level. Take glasses off, you'll see better. So rather than this, you're doing all this. And all you do is you slow your breathing, you slow deep breathing, and you just focus purely on the shimmer. And there's something about that shimmer when it's the right kind of light and everything else. It's very easy for it to hold your attention. Because there's a movement, because there's a fluttering, because light is playing it, it's never quite the same. So it really it's very easy to hold your attention. Tends to be with this approach to meditation that things like thoughts and distractions kind of disappear quite quickly. And there's a beauty, I think, which helps when you're watching it. There's a beauty in seeing that grass shimmer or the leaves shimmer or the water sparkle and shimmer. And you literally just eyes half open, and you just watch and just get absorbed in that movement, in that shimmering. And it's without actually us all being outside in somewhere where we can do it. It's not one that I can take you through, but I promise you, when you find that right moment, maybe you're out walking, you're out and about, or even looking through the window, and there's a tree that's doing the fluttery leaf thing and the light's shimmering on it, go for it. I mean, you could tie that into a mini meditation, because you'll relax quite quickly with this kind of meditation. But if you're out and about, and even decide on a day where there's a nice gentle breeze that you're actually going to go for a walk to find a place like that, where there's either some water, trees, or some long grass, and actually go and set yourself up with a session of it. And it really will take you quickly and deeply into your meditation. And I remember running a workshop at Llanrydder Waterfall many years ago now, where we did a whole workshop just on this approach. Talked about it as we've done now, and then everybody, it must look quite odd for anybody that was walking around the footpaths, but there 15, 20 of us all basically sat along this wall overlooking this field that had long grass in it, and just kind of it must have looked odd, just 15 people sat on a wall all just gazing at this field. But the one thing everyone was really quite amazed at is how quickly it almost journeys. It's almost like more like when you use a rattle or a drum for meditation, and that's kind of more trance like. But it's simple, it's easy, and when the conditions are right and you can find a place to do it, I really recommend it, because it is a beautiful way of just entering into that stillness and into that kind of. And it's also quite connecting, because using the natural world, you have this expansive kind of, again, it doesn't take long for the boundaries of you to just melt into the boundaries of what's around you, which is a lovely sense of being. So any questions on those first two? They're ones that are kind of more explanation than practical. So I thought I'd get those done out of the way first. When it comes to open eye meditation, the other thing we can do is to use a visual stimulus. So you may choose to have a candle. It is quite a common visual thing that you can use. You may have, depending on your beliefs, maybe you'll have like a religious symbol, so maybe a cross or a star or whatever symbols work for you on a religious level. You may just have, like I've got here on my that's my note to go and give Anne a hug just there. Like here on the calendar, it might just be an image, something like that. And rather than having your eyes closed, you just absorb and look completely at that picture. But again, don't comment on it. Don't kind of go, I'm now looking at the daffodils, I'm looking at the bluebells, that tree's an oak or anything like that. Literally just allow yourself to look and observe the image with no judgments, no interpretations, no nothing. That's all too much hard work. You literally just want to absorb it and just get lost in that image. Some people will do it with just some people will do it with things like tarot cards, oracle cards. They can all be used. I'm loving these at the moment, which are the I Ching ones. So you can kind of see. So if you were using something like that, you'd prop it up in front of you on a or in front of you on a table. Not, you don't want to be looking at it like that. It wants to be in front of you. So maybe on a shelf in front of you. And again, you just look at the image and you just hold your attention on the image. Eyes relaxed, maybe about half open. And you're not analyzing it, you're not describing it, you're just observing it and watching it. And when you use an image like that, quite often it will provoke imagery and thought in your own mind. Things will come up. And that's okay. The thing is not to get distracted by or get involved or attached to them. You know, at the end of your session, you might think, "Oh, I was looking at that card and I got this sense of this," and then my head went. I remember having the impression of somewhere I'd been or something, a conversation I had or anything. Jot that kind of stuff down in your journal, but in the actual moment, allow it to be there and allow it to not be there. A bit like the friends and the cup of tea thing. You know, it is at the end of the day just a thought, whether it's visual or not. So that's another way. The final way thing you can do with eyes open meditation, and I remember the first time I did this was down in Cornwall, is you start off with your eyes closed in meditation. In fact, we'll do this one. We can do this to a point. I'll guide you through this one just simply so you get a feel for it. And the thing that you can do from this is, if you've got a pen and paper with you, you can actually write and draw in meditation. It takes a little bit of practice, not as much as you'd think. And if you're maybe using, we're going to look at mantras in a bit, or if you're using an image and you've got a pen and paper just resting underneath your hand and you're focusing on an image, your eyes just gently open a little bit, and you just allow your hand to write any impressions. You're not consciously deciding what to write. You just, and I remember when we did this was at a retreat center down in Cornwall. We spent a weekend looking at ritual and meditation, and we did eyes open meditation with writing. And it was really quite, some people just had scribbles and scribbles on the page. It was almost, it's a kind of form of automatic writing, really. Other people had like little commentaries on little glimpses of moments of where their mind was. Some people had totally illegible words that meant nothing, but it's quite an interesting process. So we're going to have, I think sometime in September, I'm going to do the first I Meditate Real World Day retreat. And it's one of the things I'm toying with that we might look at doing a bit with during that retreat, so everyone can have an experience of that. But I'll guide you through the first part of it. So just fidget, get comfortable. And we do start with our eyes closed with this one. So allow your eyes to close. And even though your eyes are closed, I want you to imagine that you're looking forward and down to a point about 6 foot in front of you. Slowing your breathing. Just tell yourself you're going to relax, you're going to meditate. And then in a moment, you're going to open your eyes just enough so you can see. Barely open, just enough. Just focus down the line of your nose to that point in front of you as you gently open your eyes. And just keep your attention on that one point, that one place. Keeping your eyes as still as possible. If something distracts you off, or you'll find yourself focusing off center, just bring your focus back to that point. You see, there really is nothing difficult about any of this. Just a case of making sure you practice it regularly to get the benefits. If you want to experiment with doing the drawing and writing that I spoke about, then just having that pen and paper somewhere comfortably where you can look at it without forcing your neck down too far. Just allowing yourself to write and draw whilst maintaining that slow, deep breathing. Eyes focusing forward. And there's a few blinks and bring yourself back from that. So there's a number of things there with eyes open that you can experiment with. Like say the shimmering side of it is more of a later spring, summer, nice weather thing. Although if you have if the rain is proper coming down, there's no reason you couldn't use the rain for that as well. And the other aspects of that are as simple as we've just done. So we're going to move forward now and look at which should we do first? We've got a choice. Mantras. Let's do mantras. So again, essence of meditation, a single focus for the mind, which keeps the mind alert but allows the body and everything else to relax. And a mantra is basically the repetition of a word or a phrase. Could be a prayer, could be a couple of lines from a poem, or could just be one or two words that are repeated over and over again. And that becomes the single focus. So you may choose to use a word like peace, love. I mean, people tend to choose nice words, but you could choose any word, but usually a word that evokes something for you. So if you're wanting to feel more peaceful in your life, if you want to experience more inner peace, you might just choose the words inner peace as a very simple mantra. Or you might look up, didn't use one in the end, like say a line from a poem, line from a prayer. John O'Donoghue, if I was to recommend some nice writing, has some wonderful lines that you can use, or just Google. There's also within yoga and also within martial arts meditation, the use of mantras. So you have things like So Hum, which I think, thinking back to the first time we did meditation with iMeditate, was the one that we used. So Hum, or the very famous mantra which gets used, which sometimes you'll hear people making fun of, and go, "Oh, you meditate, do you?" But Om is a really beautiful and powerful mantra for meditation. Within Druidry, the most common word that is used is Arwen, which is one that I still really like using. And the Arwen just means flowing spirit, inspiration. And so with a mantra, there's a couple of ways you could approach it. Some people just go into their meditation and start chanting that word. You may, if you're by yourself, you may say it out loud, or you may just repeat it to yourself quietly in your mind. And the same with the visual, the same with the breath. There's a single focus. That's all you do. Your breathing is, because you're using a mantra, especially if you're speaking it, your breathing will be governed a little bit by the mantra. But you relax your breathing, focus on what your word is, and you repeat, you repeat, you repeat. That's one way of doing it. One of the ways that I was taught many moons back now, which is still actually, I think, a really nice way of working with mantras, is you start off and you speak the mantra 3 times at your normal level. So if we were using the word peace, I would go take a few moments to relax, tell myself I was going to meditate, going to relax, just take some breaths, and I would repeat the word 3 times. Peace, peace, peace. Finishing the breath. The next time I'd say it 3 times, but I'd say it quieter. Peace, peace, peace. The next time I'd repeat it and I would whisper it. Peace, peace, peace. 4th time I would literally just mouth it, just breath it. And after that, I would continue repeating it, but just quietly to myself. And there's something about that approach. It's actually still my favorite approach, actually, to mantra. Is, yeah, you can just go straight into it, but it almost acts like a self-hypnotic induction. That speaking it louder and just slowly taking it quieter automatically just brings you within and settles you into the practice. And then you would repeat it for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long you're doing. And then when you're ready to come out the other end, you would reverse that process. So you're feeling that time's ready. So you kind of speak it very, very gently and quietly, whisper it a little bit louder, peace, peace, peace. And then you do it at normal volume, peace, 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 as you came back out of your meditation. It really adds a real nice sense of going into and then coming back out. Another thing you can do with mantras, and certain mantras, if you look into certainly the ones used in yoga and within Hinduism, they're not only are they aids to meditation, but some bring kind of abundance into your life, some clear the body's energy, some banish negativity. There's a whole range of them. And what you might choose to do is use a set of beads. Because with some of them, traditionally, you chant the mantra a certain number of times to get the benefit and the effect from it. And that's usually 108. You have to take my word for it. There are 108 beads on there. I attach them all myself to quite a bit, especially when they get halfway and they fall off. These are made myself. You can buy them. And all you do there is whilst you're reciting, every time you recite the word, you move a bead. Just very gently and very slowly. And that just helps you keep your tally and your count. And when you get all the way around and back to this side, you know you've done a full length. And it's a great way of timing your meditation. Usually that will take about, depending on the mantra, 10 to 15 minutes, which is a nice way of timing. And it's a way of timing your meditation where you're not, because it's very easy to use a mobile phone or something. Oh, I've got 10 minutes, I'll set a gentle alarm, or the sound of birds for when I finish, or the chime of a singing bowl or something in 10 minutes, 20 minutes time. But with these, you don't have to do that. You don't have that artificial interference. It just naturally paces itself. And what we're going to do, we're going to combine approaches with this one. So we're going to, obviously you haven't all got beads, but I've got a set here. We're going to use So Hum. It's a very simple, it's a nice mantra. And we'll say it 3 times at normal range, 3 times at slightly quieter, 3 times whisper, 3 times just literally mouthing it. And then we're going to start, what you're going to do is you're going to say it internally. I'm going to count around using the beads, so I will say it out loud still. And that way you get a feeling of the length of time if you're using the beads and the mantra. And again, as with following your breath, as with using a visual focus, if your mind drifts, you just bring it back to the word or the words. So is that all sounding clear? Wonderful. So let's give this a go. Have a fidget, get comfortable. Coming a little closer on this one. And it's very simple. So that's it. So getting comfortable, allow your eyes to close. I mean, if you want to say it out loud, when I'm saying it out loud, you can, or you can internalize. It's entirely up to you. So let's take a nice deep breath in and out. In, out, in, out. I'm going to say So Hum out loud 3 times. So hum. So hum. So hum. And quieter. So hum. So hum. So hum. Whispered. So. And just quietly to yourself. So 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 so, um, so, um, so, so, um, so, 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 um, so, um, so, um, so, so, um, so, um, so, um, so, um, so, um, so, um, so, so, um, 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 so, so, um, 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 so, so, um, 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 so, hum, 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 so, so, hum, so, hum, so, hum, so, hum, so, so, hum. Allow the echoes of so hum to work within you. Just whisper it quietly 3 times. A little bit louder. So hum, so hum, so hum. A normal volume as you come all the way back out. So hum, so hum, so hum. And when you're ready, open your eyes, have a stretch, have a fidget, and we'll just take a moment to just see how you found that, just if you want to share anything at all. Fabulous. So moving on to the final part of today's session, we're going to look at, and this is another thing I really, really love, and that's mudras. Mudras. And they appear in Taoism, they appear, well, Buddhism. There was a point where Hinduism was and yoga were coming into and Buddhism was coming over, sorry, from India, and it influenced greatly the main um, Chinese traditions. And I mean, Zen Buddhism comes from a combination of Taoism and Buddhism and Hinduism, and it's mudras are hand positions. If you look at any of the old temple sculptures where they have the dancers and they'll have their hands doing all sorts of contorted, twisted things and locked together, those are mudras. And in the tradition of mudras, some are part of dance and storytelling, and each one, if you know what they are, represents a different tale and aspect of divinity and things. So they can way of communicating universal truths that way. But then others are used for meditation and for healing. And for what we're doing, obviously, I'm not qualified to teach you traditional dance. So you'll be glad I'm not going to. I mean, it would be great fun, actually, I imagine, but I wouldn't know where to start. So I'm not going to be teaching that. But what I'm going to do today is share just one simple one. It's a nice place to finish on with the final meditation today. And mudras work through connecting. Sometimes it's in the symbolism of what the mudra represents. Sometimes it's in the way it's connecting the different energy lines and energy points in the body, the different chakras and points that allow the energy to flow in a certain way within the body. And some are complex, some, the kind of stereotypical thing of yoga with people bending and contorting into all sorts of weird and wonderful positions. And we mere mortals look and go, shit. Mudras can be a little bit like that. Some of them are that finger knotted and entwined that it takes a bit of practice and actually probably a little bit of loosening up and stretching of the fingers to get there. But there's plenty that we can do, which are perfectly easy. And I mean, prayer position, that's one. Can all do that. This one, if you've not been doing it after a little while, can cause a little bit of backache until you get used to it, if you're not used to it. But if you're using prayer position, your single point of focus becomes the tips of your fingers. And so you're just focusing there. And some traditions will have you kind of gently opening your eyes and looking down on the tips of the fingers. Others will have it so you can feel the breath from your nostrils just touching. In Reiki, one of the basic practices that you learn in Reiki 1 is Gasho, depending on how you pronounce it, which is prayer position, and actually was one of the fundamental practices that Usui taught, was to maintain this as meditation for 30 minutes a day whilst reciting the Reiki precepts, which, if you think about it, is what we've just done, really, is mantra work. So there's this one. We're not even going to go this complicated because I want to finish on something so easy that we can all do it. We're going to do is, I'll demonstrate here, the basic, and you quite often see sculptures of Buddha doing this, where you've got your dominant hand resting on the non-dominant hand, one on top of the other, just resting comfortably in your lap, like this, thumbs touching like that. That's our basic position, back straight, hands comfortable. And that's a mudra. This mudra invites calm, centering and stillness into our life. It brings us into a place of stillness. And what we do is we hold our hands in this position comfortably on our lap. And our focus is in the bowl that the hands create. And that's as simple as it is. And you hold your attention whilst relaxing your breath, holding your attention in that bowl, in that center, and just allowing that position and the hand position to work and do what it does. So we're going to finish today's session with this. I have got down here. I should have marked the page though, if I can find it quickly. I did make a few extra notes. Where's it gone? Bear with me. I've marked this here. I'll find it. Oh, there we go. So yeah, seating in a comfortable position, rest in the hands in the lap, length of spine, soften your belly and your chest, everything comfortable, eyes closed. And the benefits, it calms the mind. I've said that. It's real aid to meditation. It cuts out the ego clinging to identity to self, to thoughts, and imparts courage needed to fully embrace life just as it is. So it's a really nice, gentle one, known as the Bhairava Mudra. I'm only going to say that once. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. I will recommend a book, actually. If you're into mudras, I will recommend a book at the end. It's a beautiful book, actually. It's fascinating as well as useful. So sitting comfortably, assume the position, as they say. Hands rested, so one hand cupping, the other hand resting comfortably on the lap. Nothing here should feel strained. Nothing should feel difficult. And then we'll take a few deep breaths together. And all we're going to do is we're going to focus on the breath, keeping our attention in the bowl that our hands make. Let's take a deep breath in and out. In, out. In and out. And then just slow, natural, deep breathing. Nothing forced. And sink your attention, your awareness into that bowl with the cupped hands. Pick a point in there and just hold your attention on there. If your mind drifts, bring it back. And just let that hand position work for you, calming the mind. Cutting off that ego attachment, and allowing you to build the calm confidence and courage to embrace all that life presents. Continue on. Those of you who've done energy work or Reiki, you may actually notice the energy building up in that area, the palms of the hands. In which case, just let it flow through the body with every breath. That's right, just a little while longer. Just allowing your awareness to settle and center in that bowl. Sinking down into that place. As you continue, there's a part of you that is the learning part of you. That in every day and every way is taking on board new things. And that part of you can take on board everything that you've learned today and find and discover new ways to integrate it into your practices, into your day. And sometimes the insights and the understandings aren't about the practice. They're about ideas and how they apply to other aspects of our lives, for the better of our lives, for the better of your life. So when you're ready to return, to have a great week, to feel good and take some new ideas into your practice, into your day, into your life, then start to return. Move your hands out of that position slowly, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Just a bit of gentle movement in the body to return back here, back now, to this time, this place. And then when you're back here, have a stretch, have a fidget, feel good. Like I say, we're going to look at coming up this year on our Monday sessions, a sequence of different mudras, different practices. So that's just a very simple one to get you going. I find sometimes that is a better position for my meditations, and other times I feel that my hands resting just on my legs is better. So it's a matter of finding those things that work for you, but also sometimes things don't quite work to you because there's something there for you to gain if you persist. So with all these things, obviously, if you're keeping a meditation journal, you can log the techniques and the methods that you like, but don't neglect those ones that you find more challenging, because there will be something in it for you if you persist and continue forward with them. In the final of these three, we're going to be looking at some different kinds of meditation again, as we'll look a little bit more into the loving kindness meditation and what's that's about. We're going to look at a meditation technique that Aleister Crowley, in fact, the famous English occultist, said if you did no other spiritual practice ever in your life, if you did this once a day, you could still reach enlightenment. So that will be a great one to explore. And yeah, and this video obviously will be up in the members area ready to watch.